Hello and welcome back to Down the Slope. First time in a wee while I've said that, but today I'm joined by the wonderful Liam, Ewan, and Ryan. Greg, as Roy Keane once said, it's your job to do the podcast. Unfortunately, he does have a bit of a sore throat and a cough, so he's not joining us today. But Liam, how are we doing, mate? How's the summer been?
It's been a good summer, mate. Busy, despite what some people might think. Some people think I'm on an extended holiday at the moment, but no, we're keeping very busy. But also very much looking forward to the Hibs being back.
Superb. And unfortunately, the modelling contract from last season didn't get renewed. Are you a bit disappointed in that?
Mate, you're about the 15th person to have that patter with me. No, I didn't. I think it was a one-time only event. I think after last year they decided to go back to football players, and to be fair, I think they've probably released an even better round of kits this year as well. So real pity not to be involved this year, but hey ho.
And speaking of kits, you and I see you've put the Willy Wonka factory uniform to the side. What kit are you going to replace that with, mate? The home kit or the away kit?
The away one, I think. I do, although I need to buy the home one this year because I always end up buying the non-home kits. I've not actually bought a green Hibs kit for donkeys.
That's a good point, actually, because I think I'm the exact same. But anyway, you know, I didn't ask how was the summer? How's the last few weeks been for you?
Hectic, mate. Hectic. Genuinely just sort of calmed down in the last couple of days, just in time for the football coming back, which the better half isn't best impressed with, I don't think. But looking forward to Thursday night.
Hey, and speaking of Thursday night, Ryan, how much are you looking forward to seeing the Cabbage back on TV or YouTube stream or whatever it's going to be?
Just having Hibs back in general is something to look forward to for sure. I'm sure everybody's excited about it. So yeah, one to look forward to.
Nice, and a good couple of weeks off for you from the pod.
I don't know, I love the pod.
Nah,
it's been good. I've had a good summer. I've had a couple of holidays and been grafting. So yeah, it's been good. So
excitement to sit down with you tonight, by the way. Wait, I was actually genuinely looking forward to this.
Oh, yeah, no, I was saying to you guys just before we get started, I don't ever get nervous for the podcast, but it just feels weird sitting down. It feels like I'm thrown back to, yeah, it's only been like 6-7 weeks or something, but yeah, it's a weird feeling, but a good feeling. Good feeling. But just to let you know, for the format for tonight, we're just going to touch on a few things that have happened in the preseason so far, and then we're going to get fired into listener questions. We've got some lovely people sending us lovely questions, so that'll take up the bulk of the podcast. But first of all, guys, Brian McDermott was appointed back in May, I believe, and we've had a busy enough transfer window under him so far. We've made 7 signings. I'll just rattle them off and then we can kind of talk about them one by one in no particular order because I can't be bothered. We got Harbottle, Obita, Lafondra, Wallacott, Boric, Levitt, and Euan. Liam, let's talk about Harbottle and Obita, the two defensive outfield additions to the squad. What have you made of them so far, or even if you've done any reading into them, if you've not, because we've not seen Harbottle yet?
We saw Harbottle at the friendly. Came on for the last maybe 25 minutes, something like that, Euan, on Friday night.
That, to be honest,
but I like that signing. I liked it when it came when I read done a bit of reading on him. I think he's exactly the sort of profile of player that I like us to go after. Young, ambitious, by the looks of things. He's played a reasonable number of games in men's football for a guy 22 years of age. I think sort of his physical attributes would lead me to think that he's going to be a sort of defend first defender. And I quite liked how he got stuck in on Friday night because it was a friendly game, but G's not here, so I'll say it. No such thing as a friendly and all that. It did get a bit testy at points on Friday night, and he looked like he was more than capable of handling himself. And I think that's quite important. I think it's important to have that balance in your back four. I think you need some defend first defenders, and I think we've maybe got one of those already at the club. So add another in, I think was really good. And then Obita, I'm not sure he's going to be used defensively. I think he might play a bit of left back. I think he might play a little bit further forward. Disappointing he's got injured, kind of, a couple of 2-week injury on pre-season because that'll hold him back a wee bit. Just in terms of being ready for the beginning of the season, I think you want everybody really to get a full pre-season if possible. But I've got high hopes for him. I think, based again on the number of games he's played at a really good level, mostly in the English Championship, some games in League One, I think that points to him being a pretty good signing. He's obviously someone Brian McDermott knows and has recommended. So, as we said at the start of this, everyone gets a clean slate, including Brian McDermott, and I'm pretty hopeful he's going to be a good signing.
And I think, as you say, it's always nice to bring that versatility in, because in Scottish football, it's hard to kind of stack up on quality depth across the whole field. So if you've got someone that can actually play a bit further forward when they're naturally a defender, it's always a nice thing. And then I know, Ryan, we won't touch on them too much, but I know you love players that can break the lines, either reading between the lines or actually playing through the lines. And Dylan Levitt, I think, is going to be a bit of a maestro for that. So we've got a few questions on him, so don't go too much detail, but how excited are you for Dylan Levitt this season?
Yeah, I think that's out with Euan, who was here last season. I think it's the marquee signing of the summer. I think it was one that we were all excited about when we heard that it could be happening. I think he's kind of shown what he can provide for a team, albeit Dundee United got relegated, but he was still a standout player for them last season. And he kind of adds that bit of creativity from a bit deeper, which we kind of lacked a bit last season. There wasn't as much creativity as what we would have liked. So it'd be interesting to see how they kind of pair him and two others in the midfield to see kind of how more offensively minded we can be. Midfield kind of chipping in with goals and assists. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him play.
And then, I've been giving everybody different positions, so I'll give you the attacking options. We got Adam Le Fondre and Euan, and it's fair to say, I think Adam Le Fondre, like, Rory McAllister, who plays for Peterhead, who every single week when you're watching Gillette Soccer Saturday,
for a long time, Harry, but aye.
Like back in the day, every time he scored for Peterhead, it would just pop up. I think that Adam Le Fondre is that version, like the English version for me. Every time you watch, I just felt he would pop up at the bottom. But how excited are you? How does that add up for our attack this season again?
I'm really looking forward to Adam Le Fondre, but I was really hoping you were going to do some work on Scottish towns and cities in the pronunciation in the summer.
Peterhead.
What did I do?
No, you very much broke that into 2 words. Peterhead.
I don't understand how I linguistically fail you guys every time, but I do it regardless. Anyway, talk to me about Le Fondre and Euan.
I think Le Fondre, on the face of it, is ultimately a goal scorer. I don't think any of us expect him to be our Kevin Nisbet replacement, if you like. But obviously the season is drawing a damn bit closer than when we signed him. And I don't know if I'm worried that he's still the first choice striker, because I do think he will do a job. But I hope that all our eggs aren't in his basket. But I do expect him to score goals. I think it was Liam or Brody asked at the game on Friday night, like, how many goals would you expect him to score? And I expect him to play quite a lot of minutes this season, so he should be looking for double figures, whether he's first start, like starting number 9 or not. As for Euan, we know exactly what we're getting from him, and you just want him to sort of carry on from the form that he showed in the second half of last season. Once he'd sort of scored that goal against Aberdeen, he never looked back, and hopefully we'll just see more of the same.
Yeah. And then in terms of Walcott and Boric, I'll take them. I think Boric, being honest, I thought was a bit of a weird one. We've obviously got Johnson coming through. He's out on loan, but he's kind of that young prodigy of a keeper that we've been hyping up for a few years. So I thought bringing in a young keeper seemed a bit odd. I'm not complaining, but I just was a bit blindsided when it happened. And then Walcott, I think that goalkeepers are probably the hardest to judge until they've done something really good or really bad. I think he's looked fine. I don't think any of the goals have been calamitous that he's conceded. I don't think he's made any. There was one really good save he made actually against Bournemouth, and I think he's looked okay with his feet, which is about what you're wanting from a goalkeeper. So as time passes, just quickly before we move on, who do you think will start coming the St Mirren game? I don't know if we'll see a full strength team against Inter-Escalades, but do you think Marshall's definitely the starter?
I think it's Marshall's jersey until he has a clanger, to be honest. Probably would suggest that's been the pattern through pre-season as well. Maybe not. I don't know what the other guys think. But
I think it'll be Marshall until something happens that means it's not Marshall.
Hopefully it doesn't.
Yeah, no, I really like David Marshall. Happy for him to stay in goals. I just wanted to float the question out there. But one more question from me, and then we'll get fired straight into listener questions. So I'll merge 2 questions, and you can decide which way you want to do it. Ryan, we'll come to you first. Either 1, what have you missed most about Hibs in the last few weeks, or 2, what's the thing you're looking forward to most for the season starting?
So the 2 questions, the way I'm going to answer it, probably does roll into one anyway. And I would say it's probably the more simplistic things that I miss. Probably sound a bit soppy, but the social aspect of it, the kind of camaraderie of it all, sharing a lift down with Euan and then talking shit for about an hour and a half, as we do on the pod. It's much the same in the car. And then going to my seat, meeting Liam, Brodie and Lee. And, you know, the social thing is a big thing for a lot of people when it comes to going to the football and that kind of routine every Saturday, knowing that you're going to go and see your mates, you're going to have a chat, you're going to chat shit. You know, get all your week's worth of frustration out and what have you. So the football is a byproduct of going and meeting your mates. Do you know what I mean? So it's great. They both go together.
Oh, that's good. You can follow that up.
I mean, I absolutely agree with what Ryan's saying. You know, like it's part and parcel of sort of all of our lives, and when it's not on, there is definitely a hole there. But I don't know about what all you guys feel, but it feels like it's been an exceptionally long summer. I don't know if like maybe that was last year. Did the season start earlier because of the World Cup, and then did it not? I don't know. It feels different. I suppose with the League Cup group stages, but I don't know. It's just felt like a really long fucking period of time this summer. And I was buzzing at Easter Road to get to Easter Road on Friday past, and I can't wait for the European games to kickstart. Really, just that to get that hole filled.
Let's use better phrasing in the future. Liam, your face looked questioning as Euan spoke there, which isn't an uncommon feat.
No, I know. I read somewhere this is apparently the shortest closed season in history.
Really?
Because the season, the Champions League final was the 3rd of June, which is the latest it's ever been. Final game in the Scottish League was 27th of May, I think. So to come back first week in August, I've read somewhere it was the shortest season ever, and I think a lot of that's just because of the World Cup and it's squished the calendar a wee bit. What am I looking forward to most? I think, you know, I can't really top what the other two have said. I do. When I can, when I've got the license to, I really enjoy my pre-game pint. Enjoy, you know, as many as I can possibly squeeze into that pre-game period. I really enjoy that, and I enjoy the debrief as well. I do enjoy the debrief that we have as a group. I enjoy the debrief I have with my pals at school, and I enjoy the debrief that we do sometimes on a Monday night when we get together as well. I enjoy talking about it. I miss talking about it. I miss talking about games. I really miss talking about games of football and wee moments that happen. Another thing that I'm looking forward to the most, I think we have to talk about, because it's been massive. It has been huge. The return of the peri peri chips. I mean, it's a big moment.
Yeah, and we're going to touch on that because there's a certain person who we all love on the pod and everybody loves on Twitter that gets a good amount of praise as we're going through the questions. So yeah,
I don't know
peri chips.
I don't know if it's never been a thing in the West Stand. I don't know if it was only in the East Stand, but Greg sampled them, I believe, for the first time ever on Friday, and I believe they did live up to the hype. They've totally changed the entire menu. I noticed that.
Well, I look forward to next week when I get to sample myself. But yeah, guys, let's get fired straight into the listener questions. Euan, we're coming to you first. Dave Graham said, "Give us your starting 11 now," and then he said in brackets, "assuming Fish has signed, and thoughts on Sir Paul Hanlon being team captain again. And finally, is this year's away top the greatest top we've ever had?" So let's break it down. Euan, you, as I've said before, your special skill is remembering random things and remembering key things. And one of those is being able to formulate a football team into a formation.
We'll be here all day, man.
Nah, it's pretty straightforward now. I don't know why we're doing right now and assuming that Fish is signed, Dave, though. Like, come on. But if Fish is signed, then it's Marshall and goals, Miller right back, Fish, Hanlon, Stevenson, Levitt, Newell, Doyle Hayes, Euan, Boyle, Adam Lafondra. That's the strongest 11 if everyone's fit. And then obviously without Will Fish, it would be Rocky.
And what about left back? Is there any debate of Stevenson starting at the start of the season? Would anybody see a Beta in if he's fit?
Not seen him playing for me it's just I've seen him play. Was it Europa I played, and he looked really direct. That impressed me, but I think he played in front of Stevenson that day. I might be wrong. Stevenson has the jersey, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Any thoughts? Any disagreements with that starting 11? Midfield, was it Levitt, JDH, and Newell?
Yep, Levitt is 6.
Yeah, kind of that pivot role, like take the ball off the midfield. Yeah, fair. Ryan, yourself, any disagreements there? Are you happy enough with that? Melkerson potentially squeezing in up top instead of Lafondra?
I'm afraid not. And it's probably the first time that we've all agreed on Euan's starting 11 information.
That's because he used a 4-3-3 this time, Ryan, and not a fucking 3-1-2-1-1-1-1.
Hey, I'm not a 3-1. You lost it there, Liam. As soon as you put 3 for the back line, you'll just be happy I started with the right back and with the left back.
4-4-3.
And then Ryan, coming to you, thoughts on Sir Paul Hanlon being team captain again?
Yeah, I thought it was quite strange that it kind of deviated away from that. I think we probably spoke about it last season. I don't know if it's just me. I've got a couple of thoughts on David Marshall being captain and then goalkeepers being captains. I think a goalkeeper's got more than enough to concentrate and focus on in terms of organising his own back line and kind of concentrating when there's large periods of the game that they're not going to be kind of under pressure. So I think putting the captaincy on a goalkeeper can add to that pressure, which maybe we've seen with Marshall last season. Maybe the pressure got to him, I don't know. And then the second thing is, when a player comes to a club and they get made captain straight away, I don't know if that sits with me very well. I think that somebody needs to have been in the club for a period of time, within the culture for a period of time, to understand each and every person and how the dynamics work. As club captain, it's not just the dressing room you're dealing with. You're dealing with corporate functions, tickets, loads of different things. So I think Paul Hanlon should be keeper.
More than normal.
Wait, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but Ryan's just accidentally said I think Paul Hanlon should be keeper instead of I think Paul Hanlon should be captain, and that's really funny.
sorry.
Peter, sorry, I just had to point that out. If I said it, I would have got clangers for it. So yeah,
no, you're right.
Hanlon captain on Friday night.
Yeah,
I didn't even notice that. Right,
that's why Dave sent the question in, because Marshall also played.
I seen it come in, and I was like, he's made that up. Like I didn't even notice that. Didn't notice that.
I'm open to people disagreeing with me. That's just my own thoughts on it.
I think it's spot on.
I agree with that.
I think it's spot on. I'm not a massive fan of goalkeepers being captain for the reasons that Ryan's outlined, but I also think one of the jobs you want your captain doing the pitch is try and influence the referee as much as they possibly can. You can't influence the referee if you're standing 60 yards away from the whole game. I do think, though, we as football fans, and probably Scottish and maybe even say British football fans, I think we fixate far too much on the role of captain. I don't think it's as big a deal as people make it out to be. I think it ultimately is a bit of a figurehead for the players on the pitch. I know they've got some other roles that they do off the pitch, but I think it's been a nice talking point for us as a podcast over the time that we've been going, let's be honest, but I'm not always sure it's a wholly valid talking point.
It's an easy out, isn't it? Be that good or bad. You know, like it's easy to say that David Gray was a fantastic captain because he scored in the Scottish Cup final, but I'm not entirely sure that being captain had actually anything to do with that. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, effectively, you should have 5 or 6 senior players that you look to as your leaders on the pitch. And then naturally, you're going to have a couple of guys that are maybe more quiet and reserved. So you should have more than one leader.
Harry, mind you going mental about when Hibs announced last summer that Ryan Porteous was being moved into a leadership role. And you were like, what is a leadership role? And you went on about it for about 5 minutes. That was good.
In fairness, I stand by it. That is the most stupid thing I've ever heard. If you want the boy to stay, make him captain. Didn't make him leadership role person. Fucking idiots.
Bit cringe.
I stick by that, Liam. I stick by it.
I'm with you.
Do you think it'll have come from Johnson, or do you think it might be something that maybe Marshall didn't want it anymore? Because obviously Johnson made that decision when he was pretty early in the door. You know, would Jenkins seen a year and thought he got it wrong, or do you think?
Maybe it's just looking at it thinking you're not necessarily guaranteed you're number one. I don't want to be flipping my captain. There's competition now for the goalkeeping position. I'm getting the Yogi Hughes goalkeeping school back together because I've got Max Boric here as well with 3 goalies. We just start rotating all 3 of them.
Liam, Harry, move on. Move on.
All right, and Liam, as a resident top expert, I don't know why I've given you that role, but here we are. Is this the greatest away top we've ever had, or the greatest top we've ever had, actually?
The away top's fucking brilliant. Like, it's really good. I'm not convinced it's better than the black top for last year, though.
I think the
and I'd have the 91 Frank Graham top ahead of it, and I would have the purple. I'd have the purple and green candy stripe one because I've got it, and I still look at it and think that's fucking sexy. I've got a real soft spot for the yellow 2001, 2000. I also own that, but I know it's not
That
at the top of 2001, 2002. Nah, it was a white one. I bought ahead of you. You can have that if you want. I don't know. But yeah, no, sorry, Harry. Really long-winded answer.
I like long-winded answers when they're valid.
Ewan gives you plenty.
Indeed. I was hoping someone would partner up for the shot there. Take that, Ewan. But yeah, no.
I'm just keeping Harry happy. That's all it is. That's
you and Ryan, any differing opinions there? Do you think it's the best op of all time, or do you think that we need to see it a bit? I've not actually seen it in the flesh yet, so I'd never judge it that highly until I've seen it in person, to be honest.
Well, same here. Same as you, Harry, but I agree with Liam. I think all the tops mentioned by Liam probably stand above it. But there's probably another few, to be honest, as well. Even maybe the white and green pinstripe one for a couple of years ago.
Good. That was good.
I think it's been a while. It's been a long time coming. We needed the purple away strip again. We were due one.
It's maybe the best pure purple kit we've had in a long time.
Purple always gets a thumbs up for me. I like purple.
I really like that we do that, by the way, away tops. I haven't really spoken about it, but we rotate the colour and just not have the same colour every year. Like, don't just play it safe. Like, 'cause we could just have a yellow away top every season, but I like that we do that. It gives you a bit of variety. It gives everybody something what they want. But it's a very, very good kit. I think the funny thing is with kits is hindsight will dictate how good a kit that's been. If you have a great season, it'll rank above all those kits that I've mentioned. If we have a below average season, it'll probably finish where I've just mentioned it and amongst all those others.
In my opinion, Joma have produced banger after banger. I think I've liked all their kits that they've produced, and they're due a good season with one of them. I know.
Last season's home was underwhelming. I'm not just saying that because I was in it, but last season home was probably the only one that really has been a bit.
I quite liked it still. It definitely grew me as the season progressed. But
yes, I thought it was different. We've got a few questions to dive through, boys, so I don't want to linger all day on the tops.
You just said you liked long-winded answers, and
but what I don't like, guys, is attitude, and I'm feeling a lot of that. So let's move on, and you guys can simmer down. One last thing I'll throw in there is I think the keeper tops have also been really cool of late, but that's a story.
I'm not sure I like the sky blue, by the way.
Anyway, Dav sent in, hope you've all had a tremendous time away, lads. Well, thank you. We hope you have too, Dav. What was your one favourite bit of news over the summer? Could be a signing, a kit release, a general bit of club news, the return of Peri Peri chips, etc. So, Ryan, come at you first. Off the top of your head, what's been your favourite bit of news over the summer?
Definitely Dylan Levitt. That's a signing that has got me really excited. A player that you pay the entry fee to watch, on his day. He's got that technical ability to really change games. And honestly, I think that's a massive signing for us going forward.
My favourite bit of news was when the real Romanovs told everyone that Hearts didn't think Dylan Levitt was worth $6,000 a week.
Yeah, that's definitely real Romanov. That weird, yeah.
Oh wait, he's not called that anymore, is
he? What?
He's not called that anymore, is he? What's he?
Super Joe or something. Right.
Super Joe Savage.
I agree with Ryan. The Levitt signing definitely stands out, Harry. Definitely stands out.
Liam, anything different for yourself, or has it got to be Levitt? It's a full house.
Nah, I was absolutely buzzing. I was messaging you the night he signed it. I was absolutely buzzing when we signed him. I want to just remind everyone that I tipped Dylan Levitt last season to win the League's Player of the Year, and he absolutely stunk the gaff out for most last season for Dundee United. But no, it's not taking away from my positivity about that signing. I'm very excited.
And just so we can so we're not repeating ourselves too much, Jeff Ashton sent in a question saying, how do the boys feel about signing so far, and are you as excited about Levitt as I am? Apart from Boyle's return, I can't remember the last one that had me this moist. Maybe Scott Allen. So whilst I get my Levitt thing in, I was actually on the Aran Islands over in Ireland when I was on it. So I had like half a signal bar the entire time I was there. And then I ended up getting really ill. So I was in the tent at about 2 a.m. and then I woke up all snivelling. I checked my phone and I'd realised that we'd signed Dylan Levitt, and I was absolutely buzzing. So I was like sounding like, oh my God, we just signed Dylan Levitt. And it was an amazing moment. So yeah, I'm very happy with Levitt. But the rest of the window, if you guys were to give it a rating out of 10, we normally do a letter rating online, but if you were to give it out of 10, what would you say?
8. As the days and weeks go on, it's dwindling I still
Yeah,
think there's two major positions required.
fair, assuming that we get a striker and centre back. Liam, would that be enough to make it a 10 if we also got rid of some of the deadwood as
Aye.
such?
Get rid of some of the deadwood, sign a striker, sign a centre back. But this niggling wee thing that I want a right back as well. I kind of said at the end of the season, I need to see more of Canal Omegwa playing on the right of a back four to be convinced that he's going to be second string to Lewis Miller or otherwise. Before really making a mind up, but I would love us to sign a proper. Ken, what I'd like? I'd like us to sign not him because he's not good enough now, but like a Jason Naismith style right back, like a proper Cavalier right back that, like when we're playing against the shite in the league, is just going to bomb on quite recklessly. Because I think with Stevenson being probably more defensive now at the age he's at, I think you need to get a bit of balance now on the right hand side. Have someone who's going to make overlapping runs.
Yep.
So not Naismith, but someone like him.
And Ryan, question for you, the second part of Jeff Ashton's question, apart from Boyle's return and maybe Scott Allen, when was the last time you were this quote-unquote moist at a signing?
It's probably been a long time, to be honest with you. So it's massive. I've been quite impressed with the strategic approach in this window. It kind of outlines the benefit of having a director of football. It's been less scattergun. Key positions have been highlighted as problem areas: left back, obviously, right back, striker, centre half. We've strengthened areas that we really needed to strengthen. So I've been quite impressed with the approach this window, as opposed to last summer when we signed a lot of guys that were unproven and areas that maybe weren't needed as such. But yeah, I'm quite happy with this window so far. As the guys say, centre half area got strengthened, which is good, but we definitely need a number 9, somebody that's going to be quite dominating in his goal scoring ability.
Yeah, and I think in terms of other signings, I know it's actually before the signings that were mentioned, but I think Stokes is probably the most excited I've ever been at. Like, I think Boyle, is it fair to say Boyle coming back is probably the most exciting the last 10 years that we've been at a signing?
Are you saying for Stokes, Harry?
It was permanent after Scottish Cup when they were doing like the fire emoji to reveal it. I was absolutely buzzing off my nut when they tweeted. It was just like a flame emoji they tweeted, and everybody was like, "All right, yeah, I'm right." It was class.
Mine was probably Riordan when he came back. Initially, I loved him a long time ago. I was
Sky Sports News time, I know.
I was quite excited when Chris Commons came on loan. Pretty petty, but
God, yeah, was that
I
not
was quite
emergency
excited.
loan randomly?
Yeah, he didn't play many games. Did he play 8 games or something?
That mate, aye. Canberry.
His free kick against Falkirk was, yeah.
I think Canberry being made permanent, was there no chat that he was going to end up going to Sunderland? They were going to like cancel the option or something stupid like that. As much as that didn't turn out well at the time, that was big.
Another random one that's a highlight reel bigged them up a bit too much. Frank Jijeji. And I remember thinking he was going to bang about 40 goals in that season. But he set up a goal against Hearts, so he got a pass.
A big goal against Livy, if I remember rightly, as well, I think.
Oh, I cannot remember that, but you're a rememberer guy. Anyway, speaking of remembering people, Ralph Wilson asked, what happened to Oscar McIntyre, great left back? Euan, what's happened to Oscar McIntyre? Any idea?
Is he not just 18? Like, is he not just in the
is
he not just like in the development squad? Like, I'm like, I don't know. Like,
Liam might know.
He doesn't seem to be in the plans. I think maybe because he only would take kind of 2 left backs with him to Marbella. He didn't travel, but his brother Jacob obviously plays centre midfield and is got a number of minutes away. I think Jacob was maybe on the bench against. I think he was one of 2 of the 3 unused substitutes on the bench against Groningen. So he seems to have slipped back a wee bit. But I don't think that means it's done for him. I'm still really hopeful that he'll get some minutes this season. If not at Hibs, then he'll play some major minutes on loan, because it's been encouraging. I don't know if anyone's been keeping track of it, but the 2 young boys that have gone in at Airdrie have started really pretty well, and Aiken and O'Connor and some of the other guys as well that are kind of on the fringes of the first team look like they're going to have some good loans this season. So hopefully Oscar McIntyre can do the same if he's not in Johnson's plans.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see the Airdrie fans were really bigging up Josh O'Connor as well. They seem to be quite excited, especially about his physicality, which bodes well for us.
The penalty for the
bought it. He bought it. You see the highlights. It's very clever. Gets himself between the defender and the ball, and he is touched and he goes down. But it's very clever. I think Murray Aiken's had really rave reviews as well from what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
The Airdrie fans have been really impressed with him, and obviously I think we were expecting to be sending them to League One this season, but they came up, so they're in the Championship, so they're going to be playing at a really good level. And I think, having watched Dundee United twice this season, I think that league is going to be very, very competitive.
Until they get an actual manager in the door. And then Sibo Slice, what a guy. He sent in, how do you feel we stack up against the rest in the league? He's got another question, but we'll talk about that first. I personally think that we're in a pretty good position. I think that Hearts, in my opinion, have got quite a few holes, and I think that we've done a better job of patching ourselves up compared to them so far. I know there's like a month and a bit left of the window, so they might make some moves. Aberdeen are kind of putting their foot in the unknown. A few of the signings they've brought in, I can't say whether I think they'll do well. You've got like Duke, who done really well. Liam, you were about to say something?
No, I just think it's interesting that Aberdeen really like that Balkan market. Like they've gone to a few of the Balkan countries to pick up players, and obviously they've got some contacts over there. But I think you're right in saying that it's just a huge, like, any signing's a risk, right? But that is a huge drop in the ocean as to whether or not those guys are any good. And it looks like they've, to be fair to Aberdeen, looks like they've put their money where their mouth is, and they've spent some pretty big fees this summer. So they are obviously confident that they've picked up the right players. But Aberdeen will need a big squad to be able to compete on two fronts.
I think Aberdeen have kept a good nucleus of that team that sort of got them going from January onwards. Scales went back, I think, didn't he? Even though he's no my cup of tea, but I think
just had to get that in there, eh?
No, well, no, but like, I'm not. I'm more going to say that I'm not bigging up a player that like previously.
I know.
But I think Shinnie and Clarkson are two very good pickups for them.
Ramadani, is he in there as well, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, he was there last year. It'll be interesting to see how sort of our midfield matches up to that throughout the season. But I would probably have us slightly ahead of Hearts, and I think Ginnelly's going to be a big miss for them. He allowed Shanklin to play a bit deeper, and they've not replaced him. And so unless they expect Alan Forrest to do it, which I'd be okay with.
They're one Lawrence Shanklin injury away from scoring less than 30 goals this season, to be honest. As much as we don't like Lawrence Shanklin, they'll find a way to score quite a few.
I know,
without him, where do the goals come from?
Not to go on about them too much, but I've seen a lot of Hearts fans going on about Boyce being back fit, but I think him and Shanklin are pretty much the same player. I don't see how that works as like a together. So
they both occupy similar spaces, don't they?
I do expect them to spend though. I think that'll be. Have they signed someone the last couple of days? That'll probably kickstart.
Centre half and a centre mid the last few days.
And a 41-year-old goalkeeper, is it, McGovern?
Oh,
yeah. As old as that?
It's either 39 or 41. It's an odd number. But yeah, fair enough. I'm assuming that's more of a goalkeeping coach role as opposed to.
It was Liam thinking his day football teams signing players that are older than him was finished.
Fucking me sign Lafondra, mate.
And then speaking of Lafondra, I love a segue. Sibo also asked, do you see another striker happening? If so, who would you like it to be? Has anybody got a name that isn't Nikola Kukurevic?
I've got a name.
Go for it, Liam.
Still out of contract, no sign for anyone. It's not Matteo Destro. I think everyone's expecting me to push that envelope again. Josh Maja, still without a club, being released by Bordeaux.
Oh, wow.
You know what? A pretty
I didn't have the best time at Stoke last season. He's not got a contract. So, I know some people might look at him and think that's maybe a bit of a bad apple just because of the way he sort of forced his way out of Sunderland, but I'd be all over it. Another one that's a free agent, I don't know, Ryan will definitely get this name because it's nice and obscure, and Ryan's fucking all over obscure names. Played in Germany, played a bit in Italy as well. Ishak Belfodil, he's with the club too.
Played with Hoffenheim, eh?
I think he was last playing for a Qatari club, so he's probably absolutely washed, but just thought I'd chuck a couple of names on.
Big physical lad. He was linked to Everton once upon a time, actually. So, yeah, pedigree. I don't know if Lee Johnson kind of plans to use Melkerson more this season. They seem to be talking a lot about what he might have learned in Holland, but 5 or 6 minutes he played. You can train all you want, but game time is where the proper development comes. So we'll see.
Euan, I feel me and you need a moment to just kind of recover after hearing a lot of phrases that confused us both. But as Euan said to me the other day, he'd be a massive fan of bringing Curtis Main into the club for a different option.
What?
Anybody you can think of, Euan, that isn't Kukurevich? I think are we all in agreement that if Kukurevich was to be available, we would take him back this season? Is that a fair comment?
I mean, I'd take him again, but I'm not going to lie to you. If we sign Kukurevich, I'm not convinced I wouldn't want another one.
I don't know if Liam would be happy with Kukurevich because of the injury.
I love Kukurevich. I thought he was absolutely terrific when he played last season, but yeah, I mean, if rumours are to be believed that Doige is on his way out, that would leave us with Kukurevich, Lafondra and Melkerson. I'm not sure how I'd feel about that, to be honest. Just based purely on last season and his availability. He was very, very good for us, but would you want to spend the kind of wages that he's going to be commanding to play 25 to 30% of your games? I don't think so. And unfortunately, pay-as-you-play deals do not exist in football, if anyone says it.
Especially not for like a 22, 23-year-old or whatever.
What? But it's only really intelligent people that mention pay-as-you-play contracts. Surely they must be real.
I am... It's difficult because you sign them, you start them, you're fucking buzzing. Like it's like, would you be signed? Is there anyone that would be better in our range? Who knows? But you know, as a known quantity, but the injury thing just, I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's unfortunate, But I suppose that's probably why we kind of cut ties with McGuinness, just because the availability to wage kind of ratio wasn't matching up. So
he's maybe not got the. Sorry.
No, you go, mate. You go.
I was to say he's maybe not got the goal scoring sort of qualities or prowess we'd want, but Sean Maguire's still without a contract as well. Irish international, just left Preston, and has had a pretty good career playing in the English Championship. Not a prolific goal scorer. Sorry, I'm just throwing more names into the hopper, but I've not seen Sean Maguire play for years, to be honest. But he was a pretty formidable kind of, how would I describe him? Sort of pest. You know, one of those centre forwards that's like in the team because they're a fucking pest, like Paul Dickov type, just harasses defenders. I wouldn't be averse to signing one of those if we had Boyle and Euan fit, because we know we're going to get goals from the two of them.
And you know who fits that mould perfectly? Curtis Main. Let's bring him in, boys. Let's bring him in. Gavdik also asked our opinions on Kukurevich. We've just given you it there, my friend. But he also said, sorry, can't wait for Thursday. Who do we start in midfield, as there's lots of players to choose from? Based off pre-season, I wouldn't mind seeing Josh Campbell start this game. I think he looks quite hot in the games he's played, and I think he's, as I've said before, I think he seems quite a hot and cold player. So whilst he's hot, I'd rather keep playing him. And no disrespect intended for Interdesco lads. Apologies if I butchered that. I'll keep doing it. I don't think they're a very high tier opposition. I don't think we should be. My expectation is we coast through this very easily. I don't think it should be a difficult tie to get through. I watched some of the game against the Faro team when it was live streamed, and they looked really, really bad. So you guys, are you wanting a full strength team out on Thursday in terms of the midfield, or would you be happy to see Lee Johnson rotate the team?
I want to see a development team playing, because me and Greg are going to Blackpool on Saturday, so I want to see the big guns on Saturday.
Harry, I don't think we can rotate it. You've probably only got 4 players there that are really in contention. Because I'd be surprised if Joe Newell starts, having not had any minutes against Groningen. I think he might get some minutes against Blackpool with a view to then some on the Thursday night and then maybe start against St Mirren. So I would expect it to be Campbell, Doyle, Hayes and Levitt. I think probably stick on.
Yeah, I'd try and blow these cunts away in the first leg.
Yeah.
Show respect to the opposition, but try and blow these cunts away. Take 5 or 6 off them and play development players in the home leg at Easter Road, because we'll have a league game on the Sunday to be playing. So, you know, if we can go into a position where we're taking guys off after 50, 60 minutes of the second leg, I think that would be absolutely ideal. Blow them away.
I agree with Liam. Like, I think you want to be in a situation where on that Thursday night you can maybe get 20 minutes back into Miller if he's fit or more. Newell, you know, like, and just tune up for the Sunday.
Ideally, you want your big players at the cinema watching Oppenheimer or something that night on the Thursday, to be honest. You don't want them playing.
Hey. And then a different tack this time. We've got a not so happy camper. Greavesy said, anyone feel it's pointless playing 38 games to get into Europe to go into the games needing a striker, a centre half and a midfielder. Striker badly needed. Winning the first tie to then play a team halfway through their season will be Lee Johnson's excuse if we don't get beyond them. So essentially, to summarise, he thinks we're short of a striker, centre back and midfielder, and he thinks we'll get through the first tie against the Andorran team, and he thinks we'll get knocked out by either the Swedish/Swiss team. Are you guys in agreement with that? Let's talk about the draws quickly. Do you think the team's in a strong enough position in which we could beat Djurgården? I don't know how that's
Djurgårdens.
Djurgårdens. There you go. Liam, pronunciation king. You pronounced it. You talked me through it. Do you not think we're in a position to beat them?
I think we'll be second favourites, no matter which of the two sides we play, to be honest. I think Luzern and Djurgårdens have got more European pedigree over the last 20 years than we have, so I think we'll be second favourites. But I think we'll certainly have a chance in both the games. I think our chances would be aided massively by bringing in Will Fish and a striker ahead of those games. With all due respect to Inter de Scaldes, if we can't beat them with the current squad that we've got, then we might as well pack it up and go home, because you know we should have far too much for them. Even a second string team of ours should be able to have enough to get through against them. So I think we would really ideally want a striker in and a fit and ready to play 180 minutes across those two legs if required for that following round. And actually, to be honest, for the first game of the league season, that's coming round very, very quickly. And I'm still not 100% happy with our number 9 options, and I would hate us to be in a position where we're waiting on signing a certain player and that not to come through, and then we've missed out on other targets.
Is it possible to agree with all the words but not agree with the sentiment of the question? Like, I agree, we need a striker, we need a centre half. We could probably do with another body in midfield. You know, like if you're being really picky, and we probably will get beat by a team in the middle of their season, but all of that's okay. You know, like, I agree with Liam that we ideally you want these players in for the first league game of the season, but the window is open till the end of August. You know, it is like last season we started the season strongly. Christian Deutsch played a big part in the games. You know, like obviously then spent the season away from us, so there is time. You know, but what's the point? Well, you've got to be in it. You know, to beat these teams, you've got to at least qualify. So,
yeah, absolutely. See if we play 38 games and qualify for Europe. If we as fans even get one trip out of that, it's brilliant. Do you know what I mean? You know, if we go to Sweden or Switzerland and we get beat, we've all had a cracking time. Do you know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. Go over there and test yourself.
We were going to Belgium, but I was mentally already there.
I was game for that one as well, to be honest. But I think we're probably going to try and all be there. Greg, unfortunately, might have a clash in terms of timings, but we'll do our very best. But yeah, let's move on to Rebel. Hibs said, what would you say would be a good season for Hibs this season, considering where other teams around us are in comparison on transfers? I don't want to go too in depth because I think we'll probably touch on this in a coming episode. But what would you mark as a good season for Hibs this year? Like if someone said to you now, if they tick this box and this box and this box, what would those boxes read?
Earlier on.
You go. Improving on our league position, so improving on our league finish, so 4 for higher. We as fans have become expectant of Hampden trips. I'd expect there to be at minimum, an absolute minimum of 1, which means 1 semi-final, but ideally more than 1. with potentially a trophy, I think would be a good season. I do think the trophies will be. I think I can see Celtic and Rangers going a bit deeper in Europe this season. Therefore, I think the trophies will be there to be got at. It'll be difficult, but I think they'll be there to be got at. I think the other thing for me, the other metric that I've talked about quite a lot is our performances in derby games and ultimately our results in derby games. I think we need to win at least 2 this season.
Yeah. Good, Harry, is what Liam said. Top 4 and no embarrassing yourself in the cups, ultimately. You win a trophy, then with all cards off the table, it's fucking excellent. But so like a good 7 out of 10 season, top 4. It's what Ron Gordon laid out, innit? Top 4 in the league and last 4 in the cups, and hopefully you capitalise every now and again on that.
Can I throw one more in, Harry? Sorry, just quickly with Ryan. I just want to see us body a team. Like, you know, when we absolutely smashed Hamilton. Was it 6-0 or 6-1?
As soon as you said body, that's what I thought.
Like the 7-0 game against Livingston, going back quite a number of years now. Like, I see us ski a team a good tanking. Sorry, Ryan.
Good start to the season.
That's all right. I didn't start. I think in order to ascertain what the guys are saying, we need to be more consistent. Massive thing that was missing last season was consistency. On the pitch, off the pitch, in terms of the way the manager was selecting team, switching formation, good spells of form, bad spells of form, couldn't score, couldn't keep teams from scoring against us. I think we need to be kind of more consistent across all bases to achieve the things that the guys have mentioned. But top 4 in Hampden at least once. I mean, there's been seasons when we've been 2 and 3 times. So we've just become accustomed to it. Has to happen.
I'd genuinely take win 1, lose 1 over last season. I can't be arsed with going, we're the best team in the fucking world till we might get relegated every alternate month. Like,
I think Lee Johnson's team selection and the way he set his team out to play played a big part in that, though. Like, you've seen at times where he was shoehorning players into different positions, and especially you were massive on just pick your best players in their proper positions and see where it takes you. So I think if you pick a consistent team of your 11 best fit guys, it'll take you a long way to achieving what you want.
Consistency will take you to 3rd place. It's as simple as that.
Well, in this league, absolutely.
We've done it. We've done that, and Aberdeen done it for years. We done it in COVID. Hearts done it the year they came up. Like, Aberdeen sort of backdoored into 3rd, if you like, this season. But ultimately, they managed to put together the most consistent run out of the 3 years. You know, like, if you can put a string of consistent results across a season, don't even need to be incredible, just consistent, you'll finish 3rd.
That was the biggest frustration for me last season, was consistency. Even players were inconsistent, which happens, but I mean, the inconsistency with team selection and formation and things like that was frustrating.
Well, I think we gave a nice in-depth answer. I don't even need to try.
Anything else you would want, Harry? No.
Okay, fair enough. Right, moving on to a random question.
Harry, tell us what would make it excellent then. You know, like that quite answer. We covered good. What would make it very good? Or very bad, whatever you wanted to go for.
I don't know if this sounds daft, but I think we should be a minimum of 3rd, potentially 2nd after 9 games. We play everybody in the league apart from Celtic, Rangers, and Aberdeen, which is obviously our most difficult games. That's of the context, assuming we get knocked out by the Swiss/Swedish team. But I think if you play 9 games consecutively against teams that you should be beating, because I think we play Aberdeen at home. In my opinion, we should be looking at. Is it away to Aberdeen?
Nah, away to Aberdeen. Aye.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But like that season, Hearts had a few years ago under Levine, where they would win the league by the end of October. They were 6th. I think that season.
We don't say 2nd. I swear, did we don't go to
at the end of October, they were like they were fucking sending the title champions fucking banners to the printers at the end of October. Sorry.
I still think we need to give more credit to that guy last year that said Robbie Nielsen's bringing the league back to Tynecastle, and then he got sacked 2 months later. That's
Robbie
incredible.
Nielsen will bring Champions League football at Tynecastle.
Some boy.
He's definitely in the Royal Ed.
Let's get stuck into some very random questions. So Raymondo said, a word of gratitude to Fatus Prickus and his relentless campaigning to get the successful return of Peri Peri Chips. An incredible piece of work. That is genuinely the best Twitter campaigning I've seen since Liam got Gennetio Knutson touted to be next Hibs manager in the bookies. So well done, Fatis Prickus. It's genuinely, like obviously we don't know the ins and outs, but I do think that's probably played a role in the peri peri chips coming back to Easter Road, and I think that's hilarious. I love that. And the thing is, as well, I think it was half joking, but I think there was an element of seriousness that Fatis Prickus sincerely wanted peri peri chips back at Easter Road, and it makes me happy that he's got them.
I've got one gripe. They've taken not one of you will agree with me, but they've taken macaroni pies off the menu this year. Oh, I'll actually seen Liam's face before he even said the sentence. Honestly,
have they also taken your crayons off you, and have they cancelled CDVs on your TV? Goodness, macaroni pies. All right, we're trying to celebrate Fatis Prickus and you just bring the mood down. Thanks you. Brilliant. Sorry about that, Ryan. But Ryan, question, when was the last time you had a meal deal? Because Curvy Nisbet said, will Doon the Shops be making a reappearance? I've not critiqued a meal deal for a while.
I had one in the airport, actually, when I was flying out to Tenerife there. So WH Smith options were a wee bit limited, as you can imagine. Busy airport. So I had... Yeah. I know it was expensive for you.
Is it a £4.50 meal deal at WH?
It's a captive market, boys, all right? But the missus paid for it, so I don't know how much it was. So I had a Dr. Pepper, a chicken Caesar sandwich, and I had a packet of salt and vinegar McCoys. Man, didn't you me? There was nothing else to choose for.
Dr. Pepper, I'm not a Dr. Pepper man myself.
Euan
so
is.
I know Euan is,
Dr.
but
Pepper.
Big fan.
So that's where that's my main gripe. So Caesar salad sandwich. Was it
no, it was chicken Caesar sandwich. So it's just like chicken with a dressing, like a Caesar dressing.
That's not hitting for. And did you say ready salted McCoys?
No, man. Why would I ever pick ready salted? Salt and vinegar.
Salt and vinegar. Okay, that brings it up slightly. I'll give you a 5.5.
Do you care who definitely eats ready salted crisps? Michael
Greg.
Beale.
Oh, Michael
Beale loves a packet of ready salted fucking dry lunch.
I've just found a picture I sent to you in May. I don't remember tweeted it out, so we'll just rate this. You can alternate the drink because I bought 2 juices, but it was a Dr. Pepper, chicken, bacon and stuff and sandwich and a Kinder Bueno. But I also got a can of Red Bull. I was out on the road.
Kinder Bueno, children's food again. It goes along with the macaroni pie team. Absolute fucking children's food.
You spent far too much time at the chocolate factory, Euan. Unacceptable.
Wait, Kinder Buenos are fucking unbelievable.
Hey, where's the everlasting gobstopper in there,
Wait, for the sandwich, was that a doubler? Or was that a triple?
Nah, just a double. They did does the triple one though have what? There's
sweet corn.
Aye, and I'm not take it or leave that, to be honest with you.
I'd put you on a wait. What was it? What was the snack?
The Bueno.
Oh Jesus! I was going to put you on a par with Ryan, but that's an insult to Ryan. I'll give you a 5, slightly lower than Ryan.
Hey, why are Buenos getting fucking hammered?
No, a fan like. I like most of the things that you would go for, but no, a Kinder Bueno.
Wait, that's because everything I go for is the most unhealthy shit. Everyone likes it. It's just most
me too.
The thing is with the Bueno, it's just a bit of a confused food. It doesn't really know its identity, and that bothers me. So fuck your Bueno. But yeah, let us know who you think had a better meal deal to Ryan and Euan. So yeah, there's your question.
We're going to get hammered, the pair of us, because they're both quite poor.
I'm going to see why the picture never got tweeted out in May.
Back to Hibs-related questions. Steve Condy said, who are you hoping or expecting will have their impact, in inverted commas, season in which we get to see their full potential on display? For me, it's either JDH or Lewis Miller. Is there any players you think will have a breakout season?
Doyle Hayes, I think that's a good shout. We've definitely not seen it consistently enough. And I've been quite a big critic, especially of the 5 years on here. He's never showed it across a season, to be honest. He's showed it in flashes, but
probably not really many players in that squad who have showed it across a season.
Well, no, I know, but even
really devil's advocate,
just cement himself into a sort of Joe even type role in terms of first sort of one of the first names in the team sheet.
I think he will.
I've been shouting from the rooftops about Doyle Hayes for a wee while now, tail end of last season. I think the work that he does off the ball, and I'll keep saying this, the work that he does off the ball is phenomenal. The importance of it cannot be understated. It allows other people to do things in a more effective manner. And I think he's had quite a lot of niggling injuries that have kind of hampered his progress. So if he gets a season where he's fully fit and he plays 30 to 35 games, I think we'll really, really see the benefits of that.
I think you've seen a massive improvement since he's not been sort of pigeonholed as well and played that little bit further forward. Which surprised, he obviously said to us way back when, no long after he first signed, when we had him on the podcast, he said he didn't really consider himself a sort of defensive midfielder, which at that point was all we'd sort of seen him utilised as. He definitely came onto a game, him and Jonio, when Johnson sort of moved to that 4-1-4-1 sort of thing.
Inverted pyramid.
He's right with Lewis Miller as well. I think it's a bit of a prove-it season. He's got a lot of good grace in the Hibs and the Hibs supporter now for a couple of good performances, but
2 good performances.
Go out and do it. Go and have a really good game against like St Johnstone at home, because like we've seen you can get up for the big games. You know what I mean?
I don't know if it's a left wing. It's a left wing one. I think Euan's going to be relentless this season. I think he's, ever since he signed the contract from the Aberdeen game onwards, I just think he's looked really good every time I've seen him. I know I always hate using pre-season as a barometer because I just don't think it really plays his real football, but I think he's looked good in flashes when we've seen him. I just think Euan's going to kind of have the impact for us that Duke had at Aberdeen last year, where everybody in the league just takes notice and is like, yep, that's a very good player. I don't think he's going to be our top goal scorer because I don't think that's his game, but I think he's going to be very impactful. So he's going to be my breakout star or impact star as such. Any other?
I think he'll be the next player to move for a hefty sizable sum of money. Yeah. Similar to Josh Doig or John McGinn. I think he'll go for a fair amount.
I'm going to say something that might be a bit out there, and I'm saying it with a little bit of caution because I can't remember who Celtic would have in the positions. Is there a better set of wingers in the league than Boyle and Euan?
With Jota being gone, I would probably say Hibs. But have Rangers not splashed quite a decent chunk of money on wingers?
I don't know.
Like that Lammers boy looks pretty good for them. I can't remember who goes on their left.
Nah, he looks absolutely fucking toilet, mate.
Really? I thought he was supposed to. He came in with quite a lot.
He scored like no goals in 3 years. He's not a centre forward. He looks absolutely.
I thought he was a winger.
Anyway, he screams to me that Cedric Eaton boy they signed under Gerrard.
Yeah.
Absolutely eating up the dough, but no eating up the goals.
If we can just fucking cross every bone in your body and hope that Boyle and Euan both stay fit, then we could be laughing genuinely.
Is anyone worried about a 30-year-old winger who's done his second ACL?
No.
No, because we've got Danny Mackay. Come on.
No. Actually, I'm hopeful for him. He's my breakout. Actually, now you've mentioned him. Sorry, Harry. I'm going to come jump in and steal that from you because I've not said anyone. But I do think I can see a role for him in this team. Either off the bench or occasionally starting when we've got injuries. Might even play on the left if Euan goes through the middle if we're struggling. You can see maybe I'm getting a chance in Europe as well, particularly if. So I think, to be honest, I think we probably will go with Euan as a central striker if we've not signed anyone by the time the Djurgården game rolls round. So I'm hopeful for him this season.
Johnson seems to have used him a fair amount as well in the game so far, So yeah, good.
Yeah. Bear in mind, I did tip Euan Henderson for Young Player of the Year last year as well. So Player of the Year actually. So
don't think you were the only one. He absolutely tore up the League Cup section, man.
Looked good against Blythe Rose, man.
Yeah, Jesus. But yeah, I'm glad we didn't play that group stage just yet. Anyway.
Hey, actually, to go back to a question earlier, that's the fucking point of qualifying for Europe. Just never having to play in that fucking group stage.
I don't need it as much as most people do, but that's a topic for another time. Famous Five Scouting said, hope you boys have had a good summer. We hope you've had a good summer, Famous Five Scouting. Which of the new signings excites you most and why? Apart from Levitt, I'm just going to add apart from Levitt just because he's the easy answer. I'll also caveat, don't say Euan, so out of the other 5 players who excites you most. I'll throw out Harbottle because I think he's supposed to be versatile enough that he can play across, and I like defenders. Liam kind of shrugged and sighed as I said that, but I have no idea about Harbottle, so he excites me because I like the unknown. There you go.
Second for Harbottle.
Yeah, I think we've been needing a centre half permanently for a long time. I am also quite excited about the younger guys coming through. I'm not going to say second name, but Rudy was used a fair bit in the games.
Did I say that wrong?
Yeah, and I read a Patrick McParlin article. He's speaking to Lee Johnson about the way he's using them, and it's because he feels we're a bit light in the wide areas, so he was trying to see how he fitted in there. So I'd be quite interested to see how some of the younger guys that are around the squad fit in this season.
Goals win games, Harry. Adam LaFondra.
See, the thing is, like, not slighting him for his age, but genuinely, if we'd signed him about 6 years ago, I would have been buzzing out my nut. Like, I just love those types of players. I know he's turned into a proper journeyman, but he just,
Do you know what's funny about that, Harry? I'm sure that you had a go about Louis Stevenson being 36 last season and he was playing too many games. And now you're championing the fact that we've got.
Well, I had a great summer. He's back fighting fit for pre-season.
Can I just say, I would be delighted to have signed Adam LaFondra, and I'm still delighted to sign Adam LaFondra, but I dealt with signing too many players for the A-League because it was absolutely washed.
That is bad, like,
weird one, eh? Like, there seems to be no consistency of the quality player that comes out in that league.
Yeah,
I was subjected to watching a few weeks ago.
Go and get that cool. He's exactly the type of player Hibs need.
Oh, game changer.
Speaking of terrible league, did any of you see Busquets' highlight reel from his debut? I've never seen a more slow-paced league in my life. Every time Busquets got the ball, he had about 20 yards of space and he didn't do anything for it. He was just allowed to walk, and I was just getting so angry watching him. Like, I love Busquets. I think he's a brilliant player.
MLS,
Jesus,
Miami.
MLS. Yeah, horrendous.
It's a very hard league to watch. I remember at the weekends, it used to be on quite late at night. So when I finished work, when I worked in the restaurant, I'd chuck it on. But I found it really hard to watch. It was high. There's no structure to the games. It's just a poor watch.
9 gold. That's full stop.
Well, Gary Mackay-Steven played in the league for a lot of years as well and ended up in the Scotland squad through his form in the MLS. Not Gary Mackay-Steven, sorry, Johnny Russell.
Johnny Russell. Johnny Russell's a good player, man.
He's a good player.
I'm in his pod. I really like Johnny Russell as a football player. He's a player I'd love to have signed.
Yeah, maybe over there.
I think when players go there in their peak, though, it's a bit like going to Saudi at the minute.
Mind back in the day when you would see the MLS, I feel it might still happen, but I've not noticed it when like MLS players would come on loan to Europe for like a period. I think Landon Donovan, he got like
Everton.
Was he a Bayern Munich player?
Leverkusen. He was Leverkusen, aye. And he did belong to Munich at one point, but he never actually played a senior game for them, I don't think. But Robbie Keane came over to Aston Villa, I think. David Beckham went to PSG. Milan, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. And then Kevin Wilson has asked, which summer signing had impressed you the most so far? I don't think anybody really has been. So ask us that after like 3 games of the league season and we'll get back to you.
Levitt's pass, mate. That's all I'm saying.
Levitt's pass for Campbell's header. I wasn't at the game, I was on holiday, but I seen the highlight of it. It was tasty.
Mate, we've nearly got through an hour, so imagine that number 6 who can pass the ball. Fuck that.
Well, no, move on. And then Kevin Wilson also said, which Hibs player would do bits on Love Island?
Boyle.
Just because he's mad? Nah, I don't know. Who's a big handsome bugger?
Ellie Yuan's probably, because he's quite a cool customer. I reckon Ellie Yuan would do pretty well.
Joe Newell's a handsome guy, though, isn't he? So
he's in some shape.
Maybe a bit old, though, for Love Island. I don't know, is Love Island...
Who? Newell?
Greg's not on, so we can't ask anyone who's an expert.
Levitt, I know he plays for Wales, but is Levitt no for like that Manchester area? I think that's like the place to be these days. I'm sure
he's not a Love Island contestant.
I agree with Liam though. Ellie Yuan's got that kind of probably chilled out nature that people radiate towards.
Lewis Miller, there was an Australian one. I think I want to see. I seen that on TikTok.
He's a machine.
I reckon Chris Cadden's got the type of Scottish accent I would expect to see on that type of show.
I reckon he's not Hibs yet, but I reckon Will Fish would do all right as well. For some reason, I don't know why. Will Fish. Anyway,
Named in, I know total. He's been named in United squad for again.
Playing Wrexham. I think it's tonight or tomorrow night. I think Man United taking 15 sort of young boys over there to play Wrexham.
In America,
Looked very good the second half against Leon with Johnny Evans next time. That's a centre back partnership I never thought I'd see, Will Fish and Johnny Evans, but they looked very good together. Actually, Man United had a few problems the first half with the first choice defenders, and they brought Fish and Evans on, and the two of them did a very good job second half. So I think, hopefully that'll be his last game for Man United before he signs for Hibs.
refer back to the start of the pod when Liam says people think he's been dead, and that game kicked off at 2:00 in the afternoon. So he's absolutely been dead. Fuck all.
Oh, and then also, Kev, let us know who you think would do well on Love Island, because as you can tell, we're very uneducated on that over here with not having Greg on. But then Jack Kell, what a guy! He's back with questions. He did say, with Adam Lafondra looking like the favoured number 9 over Melkerson, do you think Lee Johnson will keep the same approach as pre-season, or could we see someone else get a chance? So essentially, do you think Lafondra's the starter, and then Melkerson and Doidge are the backup options?
As it stands, absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't think Doidge will be here though come the end of the transfer window, which is fine. It frees up a wage to maybe go and pursue another target.
I heard a whisper about Doidge going to one of the Dundee clubs, and I forget if it was Dundee or Dundee United.
I think Dundee United, because they were talking about how he'd score X amount of goals down there.
But they just signed Lewis Malt though.
Wonder if it would be
but he'll not stay fit the whole season. He's genuinely played about 12 games in the last 25 years. And Dundee have signed that Mexican boy. That's going to be a great part of the season. The two Mexicans that Dundee are signed, by the way.
Dundee, Tony Docherty would have had him Kelly last year as well. I said on Friday when I sit by it, I'd be all right hanging on to Doidge until January. Especially if only one striker came in.
What do we think? There's like 3 or 4 guys we need to clear out. Was that the number? Henderson.
I think Henderson's away.
Tavares is the main one because he's on a big wage for what he offers. Henderson, where did you say he's going, Euan?
Well, he wasn't stripped on Friday, so I'm assuming
he's injured. Apparently, he's injured.
It's a shame that's not worked out for him, but
you would have had McCarty in that list as well, to be honest. But he's not going anywhere with what's going on with him. Thoughts about him, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at the squad options. Tavares. That's the only one that I'm like 100%. I go genuinely like right now. As
we're going to bring in another striker, you can't have 4 centre forwards on the books, so one of those guys has got to go.
I'd move Melkerson on before I move Doidge on.
Bold.
Let's save that because we'll probably have like a prediction / transfer end.
Always spoiling the fun, Harry. Always spoiling the fun.
Always wanting to retain listeners to the end of the episode, Ryan. But the next question we're going to get into, because it's my favourite question we've got in. Archie asked, favourite sport besides football, but Jack Kell said, what are your top 5 favourite sports? And you can include football in that. And he said his list would be football, tennis, basketball, strongman, and snooker. Quite an eclectic list. I respect the hustle, Jack.
They two look like they're thinking.
I can. Oh, you go first.
Football, American football, golf, snooker, and I like tennis.
Do you watch the darts at Christmas? Would that be enough to get up to your favourite or in your top 5?
That makes me not a fan though. So.
I'll rattle off mine, and then you can
you
can sarcastically cheer as I say a certain sport. Football, American football.
Why you never said soccer, man?
So football, American football, MMA. Recently got massively into hurling. A GAA sport, would strongly recommend. And Ryan, I'll let you say what's happening this weekend as you give your answer. And then a 5th one. What would the 5th one be? Pardon?
Last weekend.
No, that was hurling. The Gaelic, the football's up this weekend. So sorry, football, American football, MMA, hurling, and I'll go basketball. I do like the NBA.
In this order: football, basketball, rugby union, ice hockey, number 4. Fucking love it. Love the ice hockey. 5th one, probably boxing, just to get it on the list. No one else mentioned it. Do enjoy the boxing.
Went off of boxing the last couple of years.
Some of the
Boxing
fights
just-
have gone a wee bit stale. It was a great fight on earlier on today, but usually
the
see
new
it's
boy.
working.
Aye.
But it's been boxing's been in a bit of a lull, I think, for the last few years, because it doesn't have the same structure that MMA has in terms of
Put the best against
not
the best.
having, you know, I think that's the thing that the UFC has over boxing, in all honesty, at the moment. I found the UFC card at the weekend very underwhelming. Again, I think there's been a lot sorry Harry, but I think there's been a lot of really poor fights recently. And UFC starting to suffer a wee bit, I think, as a consequence. But boxing.
The main card
number
was
5.
sick, to be fair, though.
Are
Was
you
that right?
As in the Tom Aspinall main
The
event.
Aspinall fight was it was that, but the rest of it was Paul Craig fight was good, but
Nathaniel Wood
was
against
right
Andre
result.
Feely as well was an absolute banger.
a UFC sort of? I know they're not there yet, but do you think they're having to try really hard to not become like boxing?
Nah,
No,
the good thing with MMA is like champions have to fight good opposition. You don't get 29-0 unless you beat the top guys in the world. Whereas in boxing, obviously, when you get to a certain level, you do start having to fight the best. But it just pisses me off that Tyson Fury's beating guys that aren't anywhere near his level.
There's the regulations. What's fuck boxing? There have been 4 or 5 different commissions and regulators. It's just is driven the sport into the ground, to be honest. I still like it.
And also, let's just cut down the weight classes. It's just you shouldn't be able to be like a 5 division winner. It's just sorry, Ryan. We went on about boxing for a while there. What's your list, Ryan? Your 5.
Football is number 1, obviously. Then it would be the 2 Gaelic sports, that being football and hurling. I would say after that, American football and UFC. I'm a lover of all sports, but the top 3 are the ones that I would kind of take time to sit down and really pay attention to. I'm a massive lover of the Gaelic sports, especially the football. I'm more inclined to like the football. Counties in the North Island are more football as opposed to hurling, so just kind of naturally came down the line to me. Massive game on this weekend. It's the All Ireland football final on Sunday. I think it's on at 3:30. So if you guys get a chance, give it a blast. Like, you'll not be disappointed. It's still classified as an amateur sport, so if you want to see passion, commitment, and everything else that comes with it, you'll absolutely get it there. There's no prima donnas, no money, no nothing like that. So
they're a sport,
fantastic.
You know, you haven't listed there in your 5s, but if it was on the telly or whatever, that you go, I'd probably watch that. You know, like what was your one?
So I've got a mate that I work with that he goes out with a girl from America. He's over there about 4 months of the year, and he's massive on baseball, huge. And I'm not saying it's a sport that I would watch normally, but I'd be inclined to kind of give it a shot because he goes on about it all the time to kind of understand what he loves about it. Right. So I'd maybe like to kind of pay attention to that a wee bit more.
I'll watch F1 if it's on.
Yeah,
to be a sport.
That's what sort of drove me in, because I am actually quite a big fan of F1. I don't know how I missed it off my list, to be honest.
You dumbass.
Any sports we missing? Are we happy we covered all the key ones? Things like athletics. I'll watch the Olympics, but I wouldn't watch athletics outside it, to be honest.
No, I like the snooker when it's on. It's nice to have on in the background. It's quite relaxing. They should prescribe it to insomniacs, actually.
All right. Well, we've got 2 questions left, guys, and then we can wrap up. But Just Gadgy Thoughts said, what's the worst injury the boys have ever had? Ryan, we'll come to you last. Like, if you're ever watching an animated TV show, and when someone brings out the scroll and it just is an endless list of things that went wrong with a character, that is Ryan's medical history, unfortunately. So, Euan, what's off the top of your head? What's the worst injury you've ever had?
Sort of tore all the ligaments in my ankle and ripped all the soft tissue. Now I've not got any soft tissue left in either ankle now. That gets clicky in the winter. That would be it. Back mouldy got stuck in the 3G playing a game of cuppy and turned. And when I turned, my ankle didn't. That wasn't fun.
That's not ideal. Liam, yourself, worst injury?
It's fucking too many to choose from. Probably the most recent bad ones, the torn ACL, MCL, and meniscus, and I wanna just because it's pretty much fucked me completely. I've had dislocated shoulder, broken ribs, broken ankle. I've had a few. Some others that I'm forgetting. Do you come on though at the sorest? Chipped a bone in my shin.
Oh.
Genuinely, in terms of pain, it was very short-lived, but genuinely in terms of pain, it was horrible, and it's left me a really nasty mark in my shin. So a few bad ones.
And what annoys me, I hate when I get cramp because it's so sore for such a short period of time, and then by the time you've actually like, you just feel yourself making a face, and it's not actually sore anymore, and you're like, "What am I doing?"
You can feel it coming, like for that split second before. Like, there's fuck all you can do. Is
you're like, ah, and then you realise the last like 2 seconds of going, you're like, I've not even been safe. I just expected it to be worse.
Have you ever been woken up by cramp?
Oh, that's hot. It's nasty. Like,
it's proper frightening. Like,
and you think your life's ending around you. And my worst one, I used to play American football, and then got an interception in training. One of the offensive linemen, so one of the big beefy boys, hit me, and I genuinely went about 3 foot up in the air and landed like square on the bottom of my spine. And honestly, I like sometimes it'll randomly walk, my back will twinge. My back is fully fecked after that. That guy ended up going on to win like strongman for his weight class at like under 21 a few years back as well. So we're talking a big boy, rocked me, and yeah. Bad back, Harry.
Funny to see that.
Jesus. Honestly, it would be like if we put that up on our Twitter or whatever, it'd get hundreds and hundreds of likes. Like, but Ryan, give us one.
Yeah, I was just going to say I don't want to make this all about me and look for sympathy and stuff like that. Oh, you guys know what's happened with me, so I'll just keep it short. When I was playing football, one of the worst ones I had was a dislocated knee, and when it dislocated, it trapped a nerve at the same time. So when it popped back in, it went in with quite a force and chipped the back of the patella, which is a kneecap. So kept me out of action for quite a while. Quite a sore one, to be fair.
I don't want to speak on his behalf because it's probably not his worst, but Greg's knees are completely fucked.
Aye.
And we were playing in like a staff charity game, and I'm pretty certain he just popped his knee back into place.
You can do it, if you straighten your leg out, but it's dangerous.
Minging. It was absolutely minging.
Very dangerous.
But just gadgy thoughts. I like the question, and you've sent it in, but something must have sparked it. Either you've got a story you can tell us about your worst injury, or you've seen something that made you think, oh, what's the down the slope guy's worst injury? So let us know why you sent that in, because I'm curious.
Maybe you've seen my Instagram and realised I'm totally made of metal.
And then, guys, I'm a stickler for having something, having an ongoing gag. And we all know what the last question is. John McIntosh said, "What's for dinner?" Liam, you always come with my favourite dinner, so we'll come to you first. What did you are having for dinner?
I had a Spanish fish stew tonight, which was potatoes, white fish, onions, kind of tomatoes, obviously, a bit of lemon and parsley. Pretty solid. Some chickpeas as well, actually, thrown at the end. It's pretty good.
That sounds very hearty in the best way possible.
It's good. Lots of potatoes, and I had a bit of bread at the end to soak up all the juices, which was class.
Can I just ask, do you like paella?
I fucking love paella.
So I was eating paella like it was going out of fashion there last week, man. It's phenomenal, eh? It just hits harder when you're there, doesn't it? It's good.
If people don't like paella, is it paella? Is that how it's pronounced, or is it actually
paella? Aye.
Yeah. If people don't like it, that's red flag. I don't do red flags. That would be a red flag.
We're just talking like a seafood one, or
yeah. Well, it was mixed. There was like prawns and then a bit of chorizo and things like that. So
yes.
It was absolutely lovely. Aye.
Absolutely, sign him, referee. Sign him. But Ryan, dinner tonight.
Lasagna and garlic bread, my man. Ooh, yeah, Nicola's on the case for that. So good cook.
And then you and yourself?
Lauren made a barbecue pulled chicken, like pita sort of thing. That was dynamite. Like very good, very very good. Tender stem broccoli on the side. Keep everything.
She's good to you, that lassie.
She is indeed, my man. She is indeed.
I'm going to be heavily judged, but John, I hope you enjoy it anyway. I had a vegan lasagna. It was... Oh, Liam's dropped off. Is that disgusting? I had a vegan lasagna. I had, what do you call it? Well, that was such good comedic timing. But it was butternut squash, and it was the protein instead of the mince. It was actually very nice. I really enjoyed it.
I can honestly say I've never had a vegan dish. I don't think.
You probably have at some point without realising.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure.
Chips.
No, like that's what I was going to say. I've ate stuff that can be designed that qualifies, but I've never had something that is like an alternative or that. Never. I'm not against it. I've just never done it. You know, I've never even had like a corn chicken nugget or anything.
That's it, guys. That is your gammon hero right there.
I
am Euan Wilson. I have never had a corn chicken nugget. Bite me. But John, you never let us know what you've had for dinner, so please do let us know. And guys, that is us at the end of all our listener questions, our wonderful listeners. We were going to talk about a few other things, but we went a bit over as we always do, so we'll leave that till the next time. But just quickly before we end off, I was hoping to get 4 predictions for you, but unfortunately Liam's dropped off. So predictions for Thursday night? What do we think the score is going to be?
3-0 Hibs.
Ryan?
2-0 Hibs.
Who's going to be our man of the match?
Doyle Hayes started his pre-season well, so big things expected from him.
Euan?
Man of the match, did you say?
Yeah.
Adam Lafondra, go score a double.
Nice.
I'm going to go 6-2 to Hibs. And I reckon it's going to be Dylan Levitt's going to get 3 assists and a goal. And I'm going to wake up a very happy man, even though it's not true. But anyway, guys, we're back. It's a pleasant feeling. It's nice to have returned. Really enjoyed this episode, and thanks so much as always for tuning in, listening, and for sending in your questions. We'll be back on Monday, I assume.
Monday.
And on Monday we'll do a bit of a preview for Aberdeen, and we'll probably get our pre-season predictions rocking and rolling. So thanks so much, and we will catch you next time.
Can I just quickly say before we go, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing a big crowd down in Blackpool on Saturday. I think we're taking 2,000 fans. Myself and Greg will be there. Big road trip. So yeah, looking forward to that, and it'll be good to see everybody down there.
Hey, and on that happy note, we'll catch you next time.
And if you see a car that looks like it's on fire, it's actually just
It's just me.
Oh, God. All right, goodbye.
Cheers.